biological horrors happening inside you right now that you're not allowed to feel. Let's get straight to the point. Number 10, the brain hijacker living rent-free in your skull. You probably think parasites are something that happen to other people in faraway places. Cute assumption, but wrong. Right now, there's a decent chance you're hosting a tiny invader called Toxoplasma gondii, and it's literally rewiring your brain chemistry while you read this. 1 in 5 people carry this protozoan parasite. You got it from a cat scratch, some undercooked meat, or contaminated water. And here's the disturbing part. This microscopic organism tunnels directly into your brain tissue and starts pumping out dopamine like it owns the place. It does this on purpose. The parasite evolved to make rodents fearless around cats, so they get eaten, completing the parasite's life cycle. But when it infects humans, it doesn't just sit there quietly. Studies have directly linked toxoplasma to schizophrenia and risk-taking behavior. So that impulsive decision you made last week, the sudden urge to quit your job or text your ex, might not have been entirely you. It could have been a brain parasite tweaking your mood and perception. You can't feel it working. You can't sense it burrowing, but it's there, and roughly 20% of us quietly pulling strings. Creepy, right? Number 9, the skeleton time bomb. You think the lead crisis ended when they banned lead paint and leaded gasoline back in the 70s and 80s. I have bad news. All that lead you inhaled as a kid didn't just leave your body. It's still there, trapped inside your bones like a ticking time bomb with a 30-year fuse. Lead has a half-life of 3 decades in bone tissue. That means the lead you breathed in 1995 is still rattling around your skeleton in 2025, slowly leaching back into your bloodstream. Here's where it gets horrifying. A Harvard study's tracked men for years and found that those with the highest bone lead levels had 6 times the risk of dying from heart disease compared to men with low levels. 6 times. The lead sitting in your bones right now is quietly stiffening your blood vessels, corroding your cardiovascular system from the inside out, and you feel absolutely nothing until your heart gives up. Your own skeleton is poisoning you in slow motion. You probably got tested for lead as a child, got the all clear, and assumed you were fine. But that blood test only showed a recent exposure. The real danger is locked in your bones, waiting decades to strike. So when you die of a heart attack at 60, no one will connect the dots back to the lead paint dust you played in as a toddler. But your bones remember. They've been keeping score the whole time. Number 8, the antibiotic lottery you lost as a baby. Let's talk about the permanent damage done before you could even talk. Your parents probably thought antibiotics were a safe, responsible way to treat your ear infections and strep throat. They had no idea they were fundamentally remodeling your immune system and metabolism for life. A Mayo Clinic study found that children given antibiotics before age 2 developed asthma, allergies, eczema, obesity, and even ADHD at dramatically higher rates than kids who avoided early antibiotics. Every single course of amoxicillin or penicillin you got as a toddler wiped out massive swarms of gut bacteria. These microbes were supposed to train your immune system to recognize friend from foe, to know when to attack and when to stand down. But the antibiotics carpet bombed them before that education was complete. So your immune system grew up paranoid and trigger happy, attacking pollen, peanuts, and your own tissues. You develop chronic inflammation that never shuts off. Or your metabolism learned to hoard calories because your gut bacteria diversity was destroyed, and you blame yourself for being overweight or anxious or allergic to everything. But the truth is, the damage was done decades ago when you were 6 months old and someone decided to play it safe with antibiotics. Each prescription was a genetic dice roll. The earlier you got dosed, the worse your odds, and you never got to consent. You can't undo it. You're living with those consequences right now. Number 7, the mite civilization on your face. Let's address something actually crawling on you at this exact moment. Your skin isn't really yours. You share it with thousands of tiny 8-legged arachnids called face mites, Demodex folliculorum and Demodex brevis. Every single person on Earth hosts colonies of these microscopic creatures living in their hair follicles and pores. Right now, dozens of them are burrowed face first into the base of your eyelashes, feeding on the oils your skin produces. They come out at night to mate on the surface of your face. Then they crawl back into your pores to lay eggs. You've never seen them because they're translucent and smaller than a grain of sand. But they're there. Scientists recently discovered that these mites have been with humanity since our evolutionary origins. They've co-evolved with us so perfectly that they have no anus. They just store waste their entire lives and explode when they die, dumping all their accumulated feces into your pore at once. For most people, face mites are harmless. But in some people, when the population booms out of control, they trigger rosacea and chronic eye inflammation. That redness on your cheeks, that crusty buildup on your eyelids, could be mite waste and mite corpses. Your face is an ecosystem. You're not a person. You're a habitat. And you can't evict your tenants because they're permanent residents. Number 6, the plastic shrapnel lodged in your arteries. You probably think microplastics are an environmental problem, not a you problem. Unfortunately, they're already inside you and they're actively destroying your cardiovascular system. Every time you drink from a plastic bottle, eat food wrapped in plastic, or wear synthetic clothing, clothing, tiny plastic fragments shed into your body. We're talking particles smaller than a grain of sand. These microplastics don't just pass through, they get stuck. Researchers found plastic fragments physically lodged inside human artery plaques. These chunks of polymer were literally embedded some in the fatty deposits clogging people's arteries. And here's the nightmare part. In experiments with mice, animals fed microplastics on a healthy diet developed 63 to 624% more arterial plaque than mice who ate clean food. 600% more plaque. The plastics weren't just inert debris. They activated inflammatory genes in artery cells, triggering the exact biological cascade that hardens and narrows your blood vessels. Every sip from a disposable cup, every bite of food stored in plastic, you're ingesting tiny shards that will end up stuck in your artery walls, slowly strangling your circulation. You can't feel it happening. There's no pain, no warning signs. Just microscopic polymer shrapnel accumulating in your cardiovascular system year after year until something ruptures or clots. And by then, it's too late to go back and choose glass over plastic. Number 5. The hidden calories your gut is secretly harvesting. You think eating high-fiber vegetables and whole grains is a guaranteed way to stay lean. Cute idea, but your gut bacteria might be sabotaging you. Certain species of microbes in your intestines have the ability to extract extra energy from fiber that your body normally can't digest. Specifically, they convert fiber into methane gas and short-chain fatty acids, and you absorb those fatty acids as calories. A study found that people whose guts produce methane harvested an extra 46 calories from every 10 grams of fiber they ate. That doesn't sound like much until you do the math. If you're eating 30 grams of fiber a day, that's 138 phantom calories you didn't count. Over a month, that's more than 4,000 extra calories. Over a year, you've unknowingly consumed enough hidden energy to gain 5 pounds. This is why 2 people can eat the exact same diet and one gains weight while the other doesn't. It's not willpower, it's not metabolism. It's which bacterial strains colonize your gut. Some people's microbiomes are efficiency machines, squeezing every possible calorie out of so-called negative calorie foods. You're doing everything right, eating salads, choosing whole grains, and your own bacteria are quietly undermining you, turning healthy fiber into belly fat. You can't feel it happening. Your gut is a black box, but inside that box, microscopic organisms are rewriting the calorie math without your permission. Number 4. The everyday chemicals training superbugs in your intestines. Let's talk about the invisible threat in your soap, your shampoo, and your kitchen cleaner. You assume these products are safe because they're not food or medicine. They're just detergents and preservatives. But lab tests have revealed something horrifying. Dozens of these supposedly inert chemicals wipe out beneficial gut bacteria and, even worse, train surviving bacteria to resist antibiotics, plasticizers, pesticide residues, antimicrobial agents, and hand soap. When you ingest trace amounts of these substances, which you do constantly, they don't just pass through. They act like low-dose antibiotics, killing off sensitive bacterial strains and leaving behind the tough, resistant ones. Over time, your gut becomes a training ground for antibiotic-resistant superbugs. The same chemicals in your toothpaste and laundry detergent are literally breeding the next generation of untreatable infections inside your own intestines. And you feel nothing. No symptoms, no warning. You brush your teeth, wash your hands, clean your counters. You think you're being hygienic. But with every use, you're conducting a miniature evolutionary arms race in your gut, selecting for bacteria that laugh at penicillin and vancomycin. When you finally do get a serious infection, and the antibiotics don't work, no one will trace it back to the fact that your body has been marinating in antimicrobial chemicals for decades. But your gut bacteria kept score. They evolved, and now they're ready. Number 3, the pollution particles embedded in unborn babies. You probably believe the placenta is an impenetrable shield protecting fetuses from the outside world. It's not. Studies have found traffic soot and heavy metals on the fetal side of every single human placenta they tested. Carbon black particles from car exhaust were detected inside placental cells. That means if you're pregnant or were ever pregnant, your baby was breathing the same polluted air you were, even inside the womb. The placenta is supposed to be a filter. It failed. Tiny pollution particles crossed the barrier and lodged directly in the developing tissues of the fetus. We don't know the full consequences yet, but we do know those particles are inflammatory and toxic. They trigger oxidative stress. They damage DNA, and they're accumulating in the lungs and brains of babies who haven't even been born yet. So when your child develops asthma at age 5 or has learning difficulties in school, you might blame genetics or bad luck, but the truth could be that their body was contaminated before their first breath by pollution you couldn't avoid and a placenta that couldn't protect them. There's no way to screen for this. No test to warn you. You just have to hope that the air you breathed during pregnancy wasn't toxic enough to permanently harm your child's development. And if you live in a city, you already know the answer. Number 2, the viral time bombs hiding in your DNA. Here's a fun fact that will ruin your day. About 8% of your genome isn't really yours. It's ancient viral code left over from infections that plagued your ancestors millions of years ago. These are called human endogenous retroviruses, or HERVs. They're mostly dormant, but they can wake up. And when they do, they cause neurological diseases. One such viral gene, HERV-W, produces an envelope protein that has been directly linked to multiple sclerosis. This viral protein tricks your immune system into attacking the protective coating around around your nerve cells. Your body is literally destroying its own nervous system because a viral remnant in your DNA is impersonating a human protein. Researchers have also connected reactivated HERV genes to ALS and schizophrenia. In other words, some of the most devastating brain and nerve diseases we face aren't random. They're not purely genetic. They're caused by viral agents embedded in your chromosomes, waiting for the right trigger to turn on and start sabotaging your nervous system. You inherited these from your parents. They inherited them from theirs, and it's been passed down for eons. And you have no idea which viral gene in your DNA might activate tomorrow and start the slow process of unraveling your brain. You can't feel it. There's no early warning. One day the gene just switches on, and years later you're diagnosed with MS or ALS, and no one can explain why. But the answer was written into your DNA before you were born. Number 1, the mouth bacteria colonizing your heart. Finally, let's talk about the most direct connection between neglecting your teeth and dying of a heart attack. You think gum disease is just a cosmetic problem, bad breath, bleeding when you floss. But those bacteria living in the infected pockets around your teeth don't stay in your mouth. They travel. Researchers have grown live periodontal pathogens, specifically Porphyromonas gingivalis, directly out of human atherosclerotic plaques. That's right, the same bacteria causing your gums to rot were found living inside the fatty deposits clogging people's arteries. These microbes didn't just contaminate the plaque, they were living inside the cells of artery clots, making those plaques more unstable and more likely to rupture and cause a stroke or heart attack. So every time you skip brushing or avoid the dentist because your gums bleed, you're not just risking cavities, you're seeding your cardiovascular system with infectious bacteria that will slowly corrode your arteries from the inside. The bacteria hitch a ride through your bloodstream every time your gums bleed. They find a nice inflamed spot in your artery wall and set up camp. Over decades, they build a thriving colony in your heart's plumbing, and you feel nothing until the day a clot breaks loose and kills you. Heart disease isn't just about cholesterol and diet. It's also about infection. Your mouth is a bacterial reservoir, and every time you let those germs run wild, you're giving them a free ticket to your heart. Flossing isn't vanity, it's life insurance. So there you have it. 10 biological nightmares happening inside you right now that your nervous system is mercifully keeping hidden from your conscious awareness. You can't feel the parasites rewiring your brain. You can't sense the lead leaching from your bones. You can't detect the microplastics lodging in your arteries or the bacteria migrating from your gums to your heart. Your body is a battleground, a construction site, a garbage dump, and a microbial metropolis all at once. And evolution decided the best way to keep you functional was to hide all of it from you. Ignorance is bliss until it kills you. Or now go floss your teeth, throw out your plastic water bottles, and maybe get your bone lead levels checked, if that's even possible. Sweet dreams.